Hoi hoi, I'm Angel, and today I would like to rant and ramble a little bit about when to have your players roll. It's another one from my GM Principles and GM's Best Practice video series. These are things that I believe all game masters should do. But again, these are very personal, and these I have thought about in my 20 years as a game master. From things that I have experienced as a player, things I have done as a game master, things I have seen as well. So this is not me telling you how to run or how to play your game. This is how I feel, personally, how I feel would be the most fun, perhaps optimal way to do it. A few months ago, I remember a game master of a game that I was playing at as a player asked me, hey, if I want the player to know something, he actually stopped the game. We fought a monster, and after the monster, the player wanted to check something out on the monster, and the game master tells me, if I want the player to know something, should I have them roll anyways? And it caught me by surprise because the game master actually stopped the game to ask me. Another player, but he knows I'm a very experienced game master, so I imagine that's why he did it. And I told him straight up, don't have your players roll. If you want your players to do something, just don't have your players roll. Don't rely on the random number generator. I told him if you want to have them roll, but if you still want them to roll, but you still want them and need them to get the information or do the thing, have them fall forward. Falling forward is one of my favorite things ever as a game master. Falling forward is you fail, but you still do it. And there's a lot of ways to do that. We were playing D&D 5th edition and 2024. And we are doing and using sort of insanity rules. And I told them, well, you can just have them roll to see if they are afflicted with something. Regardless of, they still get it. They still get the information, but maybe they get a vision that's going to fuck them up in the future. Or maybe they get a vision that'll deplete their spell slots or something like that. They'll get a vision and they have to take away a hit die or roll a hit die, and instead of healing, it deals damage. Stuff like that. There's so many things you can do for falling forward. And I know a lot of more modern games do this a lot with GM moves. And I remember I didn't, at the beginning when I started studying Powered by the Apocalypse games, I didn't understand GM moves that much. Because I was like, why would I wait to do this if I already do this already? And then it's when it clicked to me. GM moves is something I've been doing for not for all of it, but for most of my career as a game master. And a lot of games that use Game Master moves even tell you don't have to wait. You don't have to follow the rules of when to use your Game Master moves. If you know what you need for the plot and for the fiction, just go ahead and do it. And that's what I've been doing for the past 15 years. I've been a Game Master for 20, but I've been dabbling more into the more narrative stuff for the past 15 years. Even when I ran D&D 5th edition Pathfinder, I would just do it way more narratively. We never use a fucking map. I mean, I did at the beginning, but after a while, it's just theater of the mind, every combat. Can I swing from a rope from side to side on the ship to attack people because I'm a swashbuckling pirate? That was Pathfinder 5th edition. I said, sure. Why not? Other game masters are gonna be like, no, because force movement and movement and the movement of your balls, and who the fuck cares? It's the player having fun, then let them do it. Now, I understand that I'm a very different type of game master because I have fun when my players are having fun. If my players are having fun, I'm having fun. So if my player wants to swing from the chandelier and take two of the spikes from the chandelier and stab them into the robot they're fighting, if that's fun for them, I'll let them do it. I'm not going to have them, roll athletics to see if you can get up there, and then roll a strength check to see if you can pry them out, and then roll your attack roll. One roll and you're done. So if you're rolling after rolling after rolling, can you imagine just rolling to get up there? You succeed, and you roll to grab the shit, and then you succeed, and then you roll to attack, and then you fail. Rolling to roll. I don't like the idea of having to roll. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of that. I am not a fan of having to roll. With certain addendums, of course, because traps, you identify traps. I spot the trap, so now I deactivate it. So I roll to find the trap, and then I roll to deactivate it. That one I think works. But rolling to run up the hill to fight the enemy, I have issues with their hard movement rules, but that's just me. I think that takes away from it. Just let players do the fun shit. If they failed, well, they failed. Then you can describe it in some other ways. But I just really got away from this, didn't I? Make every roll important. Don't have them roll for the sake of rolling. And much less have conga lines or ladders of rolling. You want the players to find the book, you have them find the book. The players are in a library and you need them to find the book, just have them find the book. If you have time and you want to extend the scene, that you can just have them roll to find the secret entrance, or again, falling forward. You find the book, but it took you a long time. You found the book, but you found a fake book first. You found a forbidden book, and now you're a little bit crazier, but then you found the actual book. You found the book, but it was guarded by skeletons, and now you have to have a quick fight. There's a lot of things you can do. And I'm not saying not to have the players roll. I'm just saying that players should only roll, should. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I do and what I think you should do. Because it has given me really good results. Only have players roll if failure would actually be detrimental to the story or to them. Don't spend 45 minutes in real life having players roll to climb a fucking ladder. Don't have players roll to climb a fucking ladder. Much less when they're not in any immediate danger. They're just in a room. They're not in any immediate danger. And nothing bad will happen if they fall. If they fail. It's just a ladder. Also happened to me once. We were climbing the side of a cliff. But all our characters were experienced travelers and adventurers, and we had adventuring kids that would let us create footholds on the side of the mountain, of the cliffside, and people would traverse this because at the top there was a hermit that we needed to talk to. So the footholds were there. We just had like little things to help us climb along. And the latter one was one I heard from a friend, but the one that I'm telling is one I actually lived myself. And we were there an hour climbing. It wasn't stormy. It wasn't raining. There weren't dragons underneath us. We weren't being pressured. We weren't racing against a clock. It wasn't acid rain. Dragons flying above us. We just could take our sweet ass time to climb. And I even asked the game master back then, do we have to roll? I don't see any pressing matter. Do we have to roll? And he told me, yeah, because if you fail, then you fall down, and then you have to climb again. We needed to succeed 3 times, each of us, to reach the top. And if you fail once, then you will get to the bottom, and you have to redo it 3 times. So you needed to succeed 3 times in a row. For no reason, only to pad out the game. don't have your players roll unless it's necessary for the plot. Don't have your players roll unless something bad will actually happen if they fail. And that's what I usually hold on to. It's funny because a few campaigns back, one of my players told me, because I always have Session 0 even though we know each other, but you know, sensibilities might change. And what things do you guys want in this game? And I always ask them, like, what things do you guys want to happen? And I remember one player telling me, I want to roll more. I want to have more chances to roll. And I understand where they come from because players love rolling dice. A lot of people love the shiny click-clack rocks, man. I get the appeal. Rolling and see what number comes up is very appealing. I get it. I get it. But if it's not necessary, I'm not going to have you roll. I'm not going to have you roll for every single individual thing you do. One, it's going to slow down the game to a crawl. Two, a lot of players are not going to have fun. Especially if you're doing the roll ladder, as they call it. You want players to find an item or find a piece of information. They rolled. They didn't do it. But instead of telling them, well, you don't know the information, but you need them to know the information, so you tell them, okay, with your roll, you remember someone that might know. So you go to the person that might know, and then you roll a social check to see if you can persuade them. But you failed that one too, so they tell you, oh, I'll give you the information if you get this item for me in this forest. And then they go to the forest, but they can't track the item properly. So then they find someone that can tell them where the item is. And you understand how that can keep devolving into bullshit? And I know a lot of really, really influential and famous game masters do shit like that. And people hold them at a high esteem. And my God, how I hate that. Not because it's them, it's because of what they stand for. And because of that bullshit that they do. I wish they could do better. Because ultimately, I wish the hobby was more... Okay, so I believe the hobby is very healthy as it is, but I think it could be better. Things are good. But they could be better. And that's what I am striving for. So whether or not you have your players spending an hour trying to climb a cliffside that already has foot and handholds, whether or not you want to have your players 45 minutes in real time climbing a fucking ladder, you know, ultimately that's on you. I can't tell you how to run your game. And hey, if you and your players are having fun, more power to you, and that means that you are winning. So you don't need any of this. But if you're the only one having fun and your players are not having fun, then guess what? You're a fucking asshole. And you're wasting people's time. And that's no good. Because a lot of players are only going to play because they don't know any other game masters. Let's call a spade a spade. A lot of people are just happy to play. That's why a lot of times players are not going to give you honest feedback because they're just happy to play. They just want to play. No sense of discernment because they don't need to. They just want to play and they're happy to play. But you as the game master, it's your responsibility to make sure that your players are having fun because ultimately you are the leader of the table. Whether you like it or not, you are the leader of your table. And if you're a player and you realize that your game master has been doing these things to you, that is utter bullshit, and you don't like it, sit down with them and actually have a conversation about it. Sit down with your players or your fellow players and have a conversation about this. Hey, do you guys think that this and this is fine? That this and this is fun? Trust me, if all the players say yes, that table is not for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not all tables are meant for all players, and that's something that I will always, a hill I will always die on. Not all tables are meant for all players, and not all tables are meant for all game masters. That's fine. But if you realize that the other players also have an issue with that, then it's time for everybody to have a sit down with the game master and go in good faith. You know, hopefully the game master didn't know and they'll rectify it. But if the game master goes, that's just how I like to run my games, either like it or leave, then maybe it's time to leave and find a new game master. If the game master is your friend, then let me tell you, not all friends make for good players, and not all friends make for good game masters. The same way that not all good players make for good friends, and not all good game masters make for good friends. It's just a hobby. I know that we would prefer to play these hobbies with our friends exclusively, but we don't always have that privilege. So, you know, cut your losses. A lot of these videos are always going to boil down to talk to each other. Communication and comprehension are paramount to every healthy relationship, after all, including, you know, player-to-player relationships and game master to player relationships, and even game master to game master relationships, because some people actually do co-game masters. I've met a lot of people that they have tables where there are two game masters, because one game master handles the story and the role-playing bits, and another game master handles the combat bits. Nothing wrong with that. It's a very interesting dynamic, and it works for them. So, like, if it works for them, that's awesome. But as a game masters, I believe we should do better and not just have players roll for the sake of rolling. Of course, if you're doing something little silly, you know, like I want to hit on the barkeeper and shit like that, you know, have them roll. Then it doesn't fail, then you don't fade to black. Because some tables do enjoy those silly little rolls. I'm not talking about those silly little rolls. I'm talking about, you know, roll pyramids. It's another way to tell them. Just keeps going and going and going and going until the players finally get what the game master wants them to get, instead of the game master just cutting off the middleman and just give it to them. Or like I said, falling forward, which is something that I'm very happy that a lot of other games are doing with GM moves. If you're a game master that plays exclusively Dungeons and Dragons, as most game masters do, I do suggest you get yourself a copy of Apocalypse World, or any other Powered by the Apocalypse game, but I believe the main Apocalypse World core book explains Game Master moves the best. I believe followed by Roots. It explained Game Master moves so fucking well as well. So I believe that's something that every Game Master should have as reading material, because it does help out a lot. To keep you on your toes and really think about what to do when players fail or succeed or do such and such, and brouhaha. It's very important for us to really think about consequences to players' actions and not just having them fail for the sake of failing because the random number generator came up as a 1. Let's do better. And I believe we are. And I believe we can. And that's something that makes me very happy, because I believe the TTRPG community is in a much better place than it was 15 years ago. While D&D 3.5 was roaring and 4th edition was still brewing, I believe we are in a much better place now. And for that, I am very thankful. And I believe we're going to do even better. I'm very excited where we go from here. So, as a game master, give yourself that challenge. Don't have your players fail for the sake of failing. Don't have your players roll for the sake of rolling. That'll make moments when players roll more poignant and more impactful. It's like, oh, this time roll for such and such. Oh, shit. And then they actually roll to see if that's actually gonna impact them. Last session that I played as a player, we were like 45 minutes walking around, rolling a bunch of perception checks to find something until somebody rolled over 25. I don't know what the game master wanted from us. But it felt weird that we just kept on walking around, describing our characters, looking around, and walking around the area. And it looked like the Game Master was waiting for us to do something specific that never came to pass. And after 45 minutes, oh yeah, the guy in the black cloak is there, and he summons a bunch of insects to attack you guys. Roll initiative, and oh shit, came out of fucking nowhere. Okay, that was weird. Personally, I don't think it was that well handled. Funny enough, that Game Master used to ask for feedback after every session, after I gave them some very poignant feedback for a session that only lasted 2 hours where we barely did anything, and after that they haven't asked for feedback ever again. Maybe eventually we can talk about feedback and asking for feedback, because I believe that not everybody should give or ask for feedback, but that's maybe something we can touch upon some other time. Let me know if that's something that interests you in the comment section below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this channel to 10 million subscribers by the end of the day, because I know we can do it. There are enough of us. I've rambled long enough already, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.